What's up? What's up? I want to talk about this budget. Uh, this budget that's a mess, and it's just terrible. And it's terrible because you got a progressive. This is your mayor. Okay, he's locked. This is a man that's locked in with whatever cults and spell that he's under. And because we don't vote, and a lot of people did not come out and vote, you got him. Just like New York got Mudami. And they have a socialist, I think a socialist modern agenda that they're trying to push, and they think that they could do it in the name of saying that everybody that built this country is an immigrant. We're going to bypass everybody else. We're going to bypass the descendants of the enslaved. We're going to bypass history. We're going to bypass the Civil War, and we're just going to go with a bunch of foreigners and people who sold themselves to Marxism and cult, Brandon Johnson, and we're going to just skip that and say that the immigrants own it so they could push this socialist modern scam of agenda in the name of the Democratic Party in 2025. And this is the third budget. The first budget, it was the immigration thing that I was really on, looking at all the money that was being spent on the illegal immigration invasion from the illegal immigration shelter franchises. At the time, my mother was living in Streeterville, so I saw the effects of the inner Chicago shelter that was right off the Magnificent Mile, and the effects of it had there. I've watched so many people move out in droves because honestly, it was an embarrassment to Chicago to see a shelter, an illegal immigration shelter in the heart of the Magnificent Mile. And it was operated by Alderman Vasquez of the 40th Ward, part of the Hispanic KKK gang. And it was in Brian Hopkins' ward, second ward, and he couldn't do anything about it. And that's how he showed his weak leadership. And honestly, if it wasn't for Alderman Riley helping him get the shelter out of the second ward, it still would have been in there. And then you had the Hyde Park shelter. And then you still have this Bronzeville shelter over here that they're trying to say that it's more Chicago citizens in there than illegals. But we know that's not the case. But we're still paying for that shelter. Now, that shelter's not operated by, it's not privately operated. Now, there's a pastor that says that, the city only gave him $2 million and, he did the rest himself. And the only reason why he said that is because that's public knowledge. However, he's still getting paid from the city to operate that shelter franchise that's in Bronzeville, that's in Lamont Robinson Ward. But we won't get into this this budget. And I want to keep this picture up here because this is the mayor of Chicago, Illinois. This was before he was the mayor of Chicago, Illinois. This is what the things that he was doing, and he still was able to get in office. Just like Madami was able to get in office, because even though they say these are grassroots situations that they're doing, CTU and United Working Families, stuff like that. No, this is not. These are paid operations. They're paid to they're paying these people. Half these people are not even union workers and stuff like that. So they're paying these people, like they say 100,000 people knocked on the door for Zahan Madani in Chicago. They paid them 100,000 people to knock on the door. Do you know how expensive the city of New York is? It's always been expensive. I'm from New York, born and raised. A Long Island iced tea, when I first started to drink in 2006, was $20. In 2006, New York City has always been expensive. So you cannot sit here and tell me that 100,000 people knocked on doors for Zahan Mahadani without, I'll say, 70 to 80 to 90,000 other people were paid. And the same thing, United Working Families, CTU, the Progressive Alderman, whatever they're linked up with, whatever the Democratic Socialists of America, Democratic Socialists of America, all of them are getting paid to push this modern day socialist agenda in the name of saying that all immigrants built a United States of America. And you can take Trump out of this, you could take the Republicans out of this. As a conservative, as a United States American citizen born and raised on this soil, that is a disrespect to anybody and anybody's ancestor who was born and raised and built this country. I'm talking about everybody's ancestors. And you now have the Democratic Party, the Progressive Democratic Party, who is pushing this socialist agenda scam in the United States of America and thinks that we are going to continue to allow this. As conservatives, as a conservative millennial, you think that I'm going to allow you to rewrite history when I had a good education. Before the schools got messed up, I had a great education. I had great education from private school, from Catholic school, and the public school. So I know exactly how all three schools can be and how they are now, especially the public schools. They're not even teaching our kids how to survive in this demonized world that they have put together in the last 20 years. Literally. I'm 39 years old. I've seen the downfall of politics. That is why I am getting involved. I would have never got involved if I feel like we are in good hands. And we're not. On a local and state level. On the federal level, I feel good. I don't care what y'all say about Donald Trump. I feel very good with that man being in office. On the federal level, I advocated to get the change at the federal level because I saw what the city of Chicago on a city and state level and Cook County level, on a county level, was like, nah, this is not how this is supposed to be. So, and it's because we do not pay attention. We are politically ignorant in urban communities. We have a vendetta. We have misdirected anger because we mad at everybody but the people we supposed to be mad at. There's nobody in the city of Chicago that should feel safe with this man being the mayor of Chicago. There's nobody in the state of Illinois that should be that feels safe with having Governor Pritzker as our governor. It's no way. It's no way. So this is the third budget. Last year, when I started reading the budget, I looked at public health, right? Because public health is an issue, is a problem, and public health has. I'm really into it because of the whole COVID situation, the whole COVID scam, and just want to know how much money was spent, laundered through that time, and then excuses and all that stuff, and how it really, took a toll on our children, took a toll on our elders, took a toll on the medical industry and stuff like that. So I just wanted to know, like how much money is being allocated in the public health, in public health, right? So in the public health sector. But when I was looking last year, epidemiology, and that is, the study of diseases, what causes disease, all this stuff, what causes certain diseases, how it came. Like in the past 4 years, $1.8 billion was allocated to just epidemiology. And I said that on the mic. And I remember the following day, Riley and a couple of other aldermen put together a letter demanding they wanted everything from the illegal immigration money and stuff like that, right? Because I don't think they paid attention to how much money epidemiology got. Epidemiology got over almost $2 billion. $2 billion they received, when you have people out here that literally are homeless, literally being displaced, literally cannot eat, literally cannot pay for their medicine, any of these things. But in the city of Chicago, the third largest city in the country, $1.8 billion for one thing, epidemiology, for one thing, $1.8 billion. I didn't even look at the rest because I just could not believe that if they laundering that type of money, if they laundered that type of money in just epidemiology and public health, imagine how many other billions of dollars that they have taken from taxpayers, right? So no one never wants to discuss what we really need, and that is a forensic audit, because the forensic audit will tell how much money and how much money has been laundered. Like you said, they've laundered many billions since 2020. Exactly. I mean, billions. We probably talking about hundreds of billions of dollars, while people barely can afford anything, right? And then you deal with the city. You dealing with people like Brandon Johnson, who today says that what up, young Christian? Where was it? Today he said he blames, of course, he always blames everybody else. This is the most it's not my fault, but is my fault, mayor I've ever known in history. And this is it's really, but it says Mayor Brandon Johnson blames past administrations after rating agencies' negative budget outlook. The reason why we are in a negative, we have a negative credit rating, is because As soon as he got in, the plan was whatever CTU, whatever the Progressive Hispanic KKK, and the churches that the corrupt churches that he linked up with, to start stealing money. They stole money. I told you this man administration stole money as soon as they came into the door. That's why they all doing musical corrupt chairs. Maurice Robinson not in there no more. John Roberson not in there right no more. They just got this lady named Celine Hesby. She out there asking weird questions about if you was married, would you have an affair? Like these are people that he choosing to be in his administration. Weirdos. You understand? But they all unqualified. He had his cameraman. Cameraman lost his job because he came in there with a gun. I mean, this is Brandon Johnson's administration. So, of course, he's not. You got Jason Lee, who needs to be out of there, but he's saying no. But he says he blames administration after rating agency's negative budget outlook. No. Now, don't get me wrong. All the administrations have been trash. All the previous ones had. But no, my man, this falls on you, Mayor Brandon Johnson. So while you down in Beverly Hills the day before at the Ebony Gala 100 trying to be an entertainer with other raggedy black mayors that don't do nothing but just be the first black to do this, the first black mayor this, the first black mayor that. But again, the public schools, our public schools in our community are the worst. So yeah, you may be the first black mayor, but the first black mayor to what are you going to do? Do the same thing that y'all always do, blame previous administrations like he's doing? Mayor Brandon Johnson defended his 2026 terrible budget proposal today following a rating agency lowering its outlook on the city this week, which signaled a potential future credit downgrade to one notch above junk status. Now, mind you, our credit rating has already downgraded last year. So this will be the second one if it happens. So two downgrades. This will be the second one if it happens because of him. Speaking to reporters at City Hall, the mayor responded to an S&P Global ratings dropping Chicago from stable to negative the previous day by arguing his $16.6 billion spending plan for next year is in fact very sound, despite scaling back an advanced pension payment. S&P already knocked Chicago down 2 notches about junk status in January following the mayor's 2025 budget. Oh, so we're going on 3 notches. I know that there have been questions around pensions, and when the executive order was put into place, under the previous administration, it was set up to provide an additional advance payment based upon an assigned balance, Johnson said, referring to former Mayor Lori Lightfoot's directive on her way out of office. Well, we no longer have that. However, we still were able to, even in these very difficult, tumultuous times, still put forth an advance payment while not cutting services. Now, this man has cut 17 jobs in procurement and 100 public health jobs. So maybe he's cut jobs and he's cut services too, because in it was public health and in it was public health and family and social services, he cut youth anything with youth, anything that has to do with youth, even though we need all that money, but he cut that. He cut anything violence prevention, anything violence reduction, he cut that too. Because crime is down. On her way out the door in 2023, Lightfoot signed an executive order requiring the city to establish a pension advance fund using budget surpluses to help the pension funds tread water, telling Johnson not to screw it up. But Johnson's plan more than halves the city's planned advance pensions payment next year, from 271.8 million to 120.2 million. Though Lightfoot's executive order does not legally blind Johnson today, his own finance team has insisted on making the extra payments because that would save billions down the line. The move also won praise from rating agencies like S&P, which help determine how much taxpayers owe in interest costs when Chicago borrows money. However, Lightfoot was only able to earmark past extra pension payments thanks to America Rescue Plan Act dollars that padded the rest of Chicago's budget unassigned. Fund balance, a flexible pot of money the city can draw from in emergencies, was zeroed out in 2024. The balance has not dipped that low even during the depths of the 2008 recession when it held just $226,000, according to the city's financial reports. Johnson on today, insisted that his budget plan provides a structural fix to the city's longstanding fiscal issue where past administrations have failed. Though he didn't offer specifics, of course, he never offers specifics. Johnson said that for a very long time, we have embraced this mediocre, I think, approach towards how we solve these challenges. He repeated that his proposal provides 65% structural remedies to the deficit, though his budget director, Annette Guzman, has said the ratio is in fact 60-40, down from the 2025 budget makeup of 68 to 32. Well, look, whether it's 60 or 65%, the point is overwhelmingly a structurally sound budget. That's the most important thing. Johnson said before spinning the question to why aldermen should support his $21 per employee tax on corporations. If you've never been in a position to have to choose whether or not you're going to have lunch for your children or rent, then you might not ever fully understand the impetus behind this budget. Now, I don't understand why he would say that when he knows for sure that I'm sleeping on the floor and my mother's sleeping on a couch because he won't let me pay rent or take care of my mother because I got to choose lunch or rent because he will not advise Mayor Richardson Lowry to settle our case over here in federal court, full of the evidence that the city of Chicago unlawfully demolished our family's building and they were not in the right. He also doesn't care about Jessica Jackson. He doesn't care about anybody else that has came down there with their grievances about housing, about properties, about any of those things. So when he says things like, if you've ever been in a position to have to choose whether or not you're going to have lunch for your children or rent, then you may not ever fully understand the impetus behind this budget. That's how I know that he is full of doo-doo, of the boo-boo. However, the mayor's budget plan assumes the passage of his head tax from guaranteed and still does not fulfill the entire supplement payment. Instead, the $100 million in projected revenue will go towards replacing expiring ARPA funding for community violence intervention programs. Now, you know that money's not going to ever get to them communities. They can't let it get to the communities. They have to continue to make money off of our trauma, like what they're doing now with ignoring us, black people specifically, because black is going to be the new homeless if you do not vote Republican. They don't want you to have, they don't want you to be independent. They want you to be, they're getting off on making me suffer. And the more that I call them out, the more that this administration is going to keep me without justice. So I had to build Chicago Fist Red. I have to get the right people in office. So this will never happen to anybody else. I'm making a sacrifice because that is what you do. God gave me this. God told this is what I'm supposed to do. God gave me this job to do. Because there ain't no way in the world that I know life is not supposed to be like this, because I come from a very privileged background. Just like everybody else needs to understand their privilege, especially when you're paying your tax dollar into this very same system that thinks they're going to keep somebody like me down. All right. Should S&P good on this warning about another Chicago downgrade following 2026 budget vote, it will be the first time that the rating agency has placed the city one notch above junk rating in at least 20 years. Another agency, Fitch Ratings, downgraded the city in 2016 to one notch above junk status, which it remained until 2022. Also on Thursday, the mayor addressed pressures he's getting from his progressive allies. Yes, and the cartel. So when you see progressive allies, please understand that also is the Hispanic KKK and the cartel and Chewy gang. And on one of the biggest labor organizations to restore cuts he wants to make next year to the public library system. Under Johnson, now, I don't rock with Chicago Library, because Chicago Library, especially on 35th and King, them people in there should everyone in there should be fired. They literally withheld footage of Danielle getting attacked by Paul McKinley. So if it goes to getting them out of there, they need to be gone. Including the security officer, everybody on 35th and King Library branch, and the main person that working there. If you go on her page, I gotta get her name again. If you go on her page, she can't stand Trump. So I'm trying to tell you, them people, that was personal when it came to what they do when it comes to us, when it comes to Chicago Fist Red. Because it's one thing to be conservative, another thing to be Republican, but to be a Trump supporter, that's where the Democrats crash out. I mean, crash out, murder, suicide. I mean, willing to I don't know. I mean, to the point it's a trigger. It's a trigger. Under Johnson's 2026 plan, 89 vacant positions at the Chicago Public Library and 50% of the collections funds used to buy books will be slashed. Well, of course. Why? Of course they would. Of course, the money to buy books will be slashed, because socialism want to teach you what to do. Socialism wants you to be out here to be a liberal bum and work for them. They don't want you to expand your mind. They don't want you to research and go out here and be somebody and be a great medical doctor, or understand how health insurance is supposed to work and make it equal for everybody, so everybody won't have an issue, and or go be the best forensic audit have the best audit company on earth, so you could come in here and audit these corrupt administrations and these even the corporations, all this, the healthcare system, all that. No, so of course they want you to not know how to read. That's why that's what we're dealing with now. We're dealing with a country of incompetence. 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 When I say ain't nobody got any type of human resources skills, nobody. I mean, even when you go to no customer service skills, nothing. I mean, we are literally living day by day. Like day by day. We are holding on by a needle and a thread. This the dumbest generation. And I'm saying dumbest generation I have ever encountered. Like it needs to be studied how dumb we are. You got people that are mad because they don't want to be a liberal. You got black people that are mad at black people because they don't want to vote Democrat, because they just don't see the benefit. You got black people trying to save illegal immigrants in our community while we don't have nothing. Your light's about to be off. And they just gave this whole family who don't speak English the American dream. But you don't want Donald Trump, Gregory Bovino, Cash Patel, Christian Nome to come in here and get these people. You don't want them. Do you love yourself? Do you love this country? Or are we that messed up? And I know we are. I know we are. Because we are the culture of America. Everybody that was affected by Reaganomics, affected by the crack era, affected by the crime bill should be at every city council meeting, every community meeting, going in on this black man that's out here fighting for illegals, knowing what the Democratic Party 94 crime bill and Reaganomics, Republican Ronald Reagan did to our community. And we're gonna brush past that. We're gonna put that over here on the side because we don't want to discuss that, while we're letting billions of dollars of fentanyl coming in, billions of dollars of fentanyl coming in, billions of dollars of our tax dollars going to illegals, making sure they got everything they need. Foreigners got more businesses than black people. The foreigners have more businesses than black people, and y'all sitting out here praising Jasmine Crockett, praising Maxine Waters, praising Van Jones, listening to all of these people who work for the Democratic plantation while you have nothing, and then you're getting mad at people like myself and other conservatives, especially millennial conservatives, that is like, nah, this is not how this works. And we're not going to continue. I don't care what my grandmother voted for. I don't care what, no. Oh, you don't, you don't like Trump. That's a personal thing. That's a personal problem that you don't like. I don't like a lot of people either, but I don't let it get to me. But what I'm not going to do is let another industry in the United States of America be prioritized by foreigners. That's what I'm not going to do. The medical system, foreigners. The business sector, foreigners. Education, foreigners. Now we talking about government, and I'm supposed to continue to allow this to happen because of Malcolm, because of Martin, Dr. King. The I Have a Dream speech, the Lyndon B. Johnson signing the Civil Rights Act, the affirmative action that the foreigners then took over and got taken away. When am I supposed to love myself? Love myself to put myself out here to be like, hell no, y'all crazy as hell if you continue to vote blue. This don't got nothing to do with white supremacy. White supremacy is here. It's here. The government, America was built on racism. I could take racism, but what I'm not going to take is another country coming over here that can't fix their own government, telling me what to do in my government. If that's the case, then I'm gonna dive in my own government because I definitely got the basic skills to get into government. Like, this is ridiculous. Sorry for my tangent, but like, yeah, man. Like, nah, we need to really, and when I say everybody, because it's poverty in white communities too. It's poverty in white communities. Crack hit the white people too. Yeah, we need to all be linking up. And being at every committee meeting, every community meeting, every school board, even if you don't have children. One thing that the foreigners do that I will commend them and praise them on is they look after each other. The Jews do it too. We're the only people that do not do it. And I'm talking about people, black and white. The divisions are always going to be there. But right now, if you are American first, if you're an American citizen, we're going to have to lock arms like this man's doing right here in this picture and take back our country because we're being invaded in all types. In every way possible. Every way possible, we get invaded. You got a man, Brandon Johnson is a habitual liar. A habitual liar. Hakeem Jeffries, a habitual liar. Chuck Schumer, a habitual liar. Jasmine Crockett, a habitual liar. All these people just lying. Straight lying with the media's help. They built that like a Democratic Party was sure to count us out because, yeah, even myself, I should have been got involved a long time ago. But to be quite honest, where I was at that time, I probably would have been just like them. Because I was young, I'm in there, I probably would have been in there. Especially off the entertainment. So everything happens for a reason, because you have to have some type of heart and compassion when it comes to what we're dealing with now. This is every American citizen. It should be personal. everybody that was affected by the crack epidemic, the crack era, mass incarceration, it should be personal. Affirmative action too. It should be personal. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you. Yeah. It should be personal. We got to start educating ourselves. We have to be involved. Do not be afraid of not understanding. It's okay. It's okay. One thing that you got, I don't care what income when it comes to everybody. One thing you cannot be wrong. I mean, you can't say that Donald Trump didn't do was he had you start paying attention. He had you start paying attention because that's how much money in the entertainment, the Democratic entertainers, the bad Jews, and the Democratic Party gave, how much money they gave to fake media, mainstream media, to pipe up how much of a villain this man was. See, they thought that video between him, that video, they said grab him by the, see, they thought that was going to take him out. You got a president right now who they have as a convicted felon. And if you go read up on any of his charges, there's no way in the world he should have been charged for any of that. Any of it. That's how mad the 5 billionaires that's going against him is. The 5 billionaires, Soros and gang, when it comes to going against him because he's doing something that no other politician would have done because they're established. See, he broke the system. He broke the establishment. He broke the establishment on the federal side. And it's us. We have to make sure that we break it. We break the establishment when it comes to the local and state. There's no reason why city council has 50 council members and they're all Democrat. That should even be that should be against the law. How is that should be against the law? How are you y'all can sit here and play this game, tug of war? Oh, I said this or I said that, but at the end of the day, y'all still believe in the same policies. Y'all still believe in the same policies. Yeah, I seen the alderman that wrote the letter that they wanted to talk to Ernst & Young about the budget recommendations. But it's kind of too late for that. It's kind of too late for that. You guys, all these politicians that's in office right now, red and blue in this state, in this city, is all compromised. They're all compromised. So you have to revamp the whole system. So you can't be mad at me because when you revamp anything and you revamp it and you revamp it for me, it's for the greater good. And the greater good to me is the Republican Party. Because when you go back and look at before if you take the corruption, if you take the racism, if you take the prejudice, if you take the religion, if you take all of those things out and just look at what the policies and what the values are for what the Republicans stand for, that's something that I stand for. That's something that I want my children to stand for. How I want my business to stand for. I want everything I align with when it comes to the Republican and the conservative values, because I'm conservative. And there's nothing wrong with being conservative, especially in 2025. Especially after you see, look at the Democratic Party. Look at socialism. Look at socialism in 2025. They're all weirdos. I'm not a weirdo. I don't align with weirdos. I would never hang with none of these people if I was in school with them. None of these people. You would never see me at a No Kings rally for a president who has done what? Y'all mad at him because of what? He's a no. What are you talking about? No Kings. Well, like, why are you dressed up as Barney? Like what? Like, why am I supposed? Like, why would I even align myself with that? Like, y'all literally going down there with y'all scripts. Get on that mic and don't be talking about nothing. We're going to tax the millionaires and billionaires, and we want this, and we want that, and we want affordable housing, because the reason why we don't have affordable housing is because the billionaires and the millionaires and da-da-da-da. What? What are you talking about? George Floyd riot. I wasn't well versed in everything when it came to all that. But I thought that I've always said, why when the riots happen, why are we burning down businesses and houses and stuff? Like, what? How is that getting your point across? But now you dig deeper. Now where I'm at now is like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? Like, we are just gone. But this right now, if this is socialism, I don't want to have nothing to do with socialism. These are a bunch of goofies. We are adults. We are trying to get to make sure that I want, the perfect life for me is to, my mother's still alive. Great. I should be traveling the world with my mom right now. We should be traveling all over the world right now together. I should make a decent amount of money that if I want to take my mom out the country 2 times a year, I can. If I want to make sure that my kids have a great education, I can. If my neighbors or anything or something in the community, they need something and they're not able to do it, I'm able to do it. Because we have to make sure that we have to take care of the community. That is a perfect life for me. So I just feel like it's a way. It's just that it's just bad, man. Yesterday I had said this, right. I said I'm gonna say it on the mic too, because this is exactly like I wrote this after the night after what's his name, Madani one, right? Because it's like the Democratic Party is just so weird, and then you have goofies like Hakeem Jeffries and Jasmine Crockett's and anybody that just align with what they say is just crazy. You understand? Like, so I just like the Democratic Party is full of weird queers who have no idea what their fight is. They just want to belong and don't want to work. The Democratic black elites have literally destroyed the community and care nothing about it, unless you're a part of their world. The Divine Nine, Church, HBCU, or socialite circles. The Democratic white liberals, with the help of Jewish supremacy, have made sure that Black Americans will never get ahead unless they're indoctrinated by them. Legal immigration and illegal immigration have taken over American politics, trying to tell us how to run our government, but they can't fix their own governments in their own countries, and some have teamed up with the cartel. Meanwhile, the mental health crisis is running rampant in our communities. Our kids are not being educated, and homelessness and drug addiction are on steroids. And you want me to vote with them? You want me to vote with that party? That's at 39 years old. At 39 years old, going into retirement, because I'm not getting younger, I'm getting older now. I want to make sure that if I do decide to have children, I have them set up. And you think that that party right there is going to set my child up for success? The Democratic Party, right now, here and now, you think that the Democratic Party is going to set your child up for success? This man right here that's locking arms. This man. No. You're watching them lie about the government shutdown. You're watching them lie. The government shutdown. I mean, lying. You got so many liberals and uppity Negroes on the Democratic Party always ask me, do I know the three branches of government, right? So I always tell them, yes, executive, legislative, judicial. But they love to ask me that, like, because I'm a Trump supporter and because I'm a Republican and a conservative, I'm uneducated. For some reason, they just feel like that Trump supporters don't know the three executive branches. I mean, three branches of government. They don't think we know that. Okay. So if you guys don't know, executive, legislative, and judicial. Now, since they always ask me that, I want to ask them, do they know how Congress works? Because if they knew how Congress worked, then they would know that the Democrats is causing the government shutdown. They would know how they vote. They would understand how the senators vote, what the senator is supposed to do. They probably don't even know who their senator is. Like you dealing with popular dummies. The Democratic Party is popular dummies. Popular dummies, weird queers, and weird queers, and honestly, KKK and everything, Hispanic, Black, Jewish, white. Look like that's the KKK. They really are the party of the KKK, literally in modern day time. Like it's bad, man. It's bad. So a lot of people always ask me too about I think hold on. What S&P stands for. So it stands for Standard and Poor's, which is one of the major credit rating agencies in the world. So what does S&P do? S&P evaluates the financial health of governments, companies, and other borrowers. They assign credit rating, which is like a grade that shows how risky it is to lend money to the entity. Why it matters for Chicago: a high credit rating like AAA means the city can borrow money at lower interest rates. A low credit rating or negative outlook means borrowing costs go up, costing taxpayers more. Example: if Chicago's credit rating goes down, borrowing $100 million could cost the city millions more in interest over time. Socialism. Okay. The the key terms of credit rating is the letter grade triple A, double A, BBB, triple B, and then etc. That shows a credit worthiness. Um, so that's basically it. And then the Ernest and Young, they produced a 101-page report analyzing Chicago's budget. It identifies potential efficiencies, cost savings, and policy changes to reduce the deficit. The report looks at areas like streamlining city operations, reducing waste or duplication in departments, better management of city contracts, long-term financial planning. Now, it says reducing waste or duplication in departments, and clearly they didn't really look at the departments, because in the Department of Procurement Services and all the other departments, especially since he's been in office, and we could start with his office, we have so many deputy procurement chiefs. We have so many deputy mayors. We have so many of those with that getting paid like a hundred to 200, 100,000, 125,000 to almost 200,000, $175,000. So some of the aldermen are frustrated, saying that the mayor isn't fully acting on the report. Johnson always says that counters that rushing all changes could hurt city services and workers in the short term, but he doesn't really care about anybody. My hold on. So my suggestion has always been and will always be a real audit. And an audit is a systematic review of financial records, operations, and policies. It can be internal, done by city staff, but we know we don't need that, or external, hired independent firms like Ernst and Young. But clearly they aren't good either, because if they were good, then they would see all them deputy, anything with a deputy in each department is more than 10 to 15 to 20. That's getting paid almost $200,000 a year. If we get a forensic audit, an external forensic audit, we can figure out how many other billions of dollars during COVID was spent, and maybe we could get that back, get some arrests, but then get that back, and maybe we can be in the green like CHA for some reason is. These pensions, somebody has to redo them pensions. And I know, and I don't care what, like, it's somebody has to redo them pensions. Like, now that's a strike. The Chicago citizens and residents need to strike about ain't paying no taxes until they get their pensions together. Because there's no way in the world that we are in pension debt the way that we are to save these corrupt bums. We in pension debt to save for his pension, for Brandon Johnson pension. People like him, we are in pension debt for him right here. That's why I need President Trump to come arrest him. He doesn't deserve a pension. He don't deserve anything. All he deserves is handcuffs, and a jail cell. And on all the people with him. Ain't no way in the world we should be in this. Socialism versus city budgets. Socialism emphasizes large government programs, wealth distribution, and expanded social services. Running a city like Chicago requires balancing a 16 plus billion budget, with revenue that comes from taxes, fees, and economic growth. Socialists often propose new spending without matching revenue, which creates structural deficits because it was good. Christian Maxwell said earlier today, because they're living in a unicorn, a unicorn fantasy. And you are. You are. Take socialism to Peoria. Okay, take socialism. If you want to try it in America, go find the poorest city in America. Like it's the smallest, poorest city. They ain't got nothing. Barely got a bank. Barely got anything. Try it there, or go to Ecuador. Take your weird cult people. Take Stacey Dash and her stomach. All y'all head to Peoria or somewhere else because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Socialists often want to focus on symbolic victories or bold programs rather than financial realities because they live in la la land. He lives in la la land. Anybody any grown man that does this locked in like this, we messed up. We messed up. Chicago has massive pension obligations, debt, and structural deficits, which require experienced fiscal management, not ideology. And that's the problem. Without careful budgeting, structural solutions, and long-term planning, the city risks financial instability and harm to residents. So we literally gotta like Stacey Trash. Stacey Trash, man, she's like, yeah, it's time for these men. It's time for these people to go. It's time for these people to go. It literally is time for these people to go. So yeah. So in conclusion, y'all, city council are in shambles too. And they're in shambles because the corruption and the incompetence has caught up to them as well. Even the OGs, because the OGs at the time voted with Daley, voted with Ron, and some of those things were absolutely terrible and hurt this city too. But nobody, Chicago Fist Red wasn't there, Miss Jessica wasn't there, Danielle wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Blakemore was there though. Mr. Blakemore saw all the BS. Blakemore saw it all. These people don't even know how to yeah. If we need a financial audit, there's no budgets, no budgets are ever going to make sense in this city until we discuss the billions of dollars. Like I said, the city of Chicago, I wouldn't be surprised if city alone stole close to $1 trillion. And since Daley's been in it. But during COVID, I know they stole about close to $100 billion. Selling his soul. Somebody said, "What the hell is he doing selling his soul?" This was the day he sold his soul. Anybody sitting next to that lady with a haircut like that, you already know he sold his soul. And you got a bunch of incompetent people around him that's letting him continue to make a fool out of himself, make a fool out of his family, make a fool out of Chicago, for real, out of Evanston. Somebody said, I met somebody who went to school with him, Evanston High School, and they say he was nothing like this. He said they can't believe. He said like when the other classmates and stuff call him, and they be like Brandon's on TV, and so they just look at they just appalled because they just cannot believe that he is this person. They say he was nothing like this in high school. So Miss Penelope, he sold his soul. Majority of them all sold themselves. They've all indoctrinated. Obama's indoctrinated. They're all indoctrinated. And they mad because they want us to be indoctrinated too. No, I believe that too. I don't want to post it, but yeah, he definitely did sell them too. Well, he didn't steal from me, but the city of Chicago did. And he won't be a mayor and advise his corporate counsel who they installed because he didn't ask for her to be there, but they installed her because she also was a building commissioner at a time and was helping stealing our properties and getting them demolished and stuff like that. So they just move her around. She is definitely DEI hire, Mary Richardson Lowry. But he let him they just let him, they just will not settle the case. Yeah, they say from Elgin, but he went to Evanston High School. They showed me pictures. They showed me pictures of him in high school and at their 20-year anniversary, high school anniversary. So, yeah. Yep. So yeah, so when it comes to the budgets and what I think should happen, or if I happen to be in this man's shoes, I would automatically hire, and I probably that probably my first thing that I would ask President Trump was to uh, hire, but I do it myself. But to hire, but I would ask the Department of Justice to come in so they could hire a forensic, an independent uh, company that does audits, and then turn it into the Department of Justice. All the money that has been stolen, uh, uh, in all the departments, I would, and all that. So that'd be first because I feel like it doesn't matter what recommendations you have, what you try to cut, any of those things. First of all, he's terrible as a mayor. He doesn't know how to govern. He's terrible. He's absolutely he's pathetic. But no recommendations matter if the residents are going to continue to the residents are going to continue to to pay for it. And then it doesn't matter. Your recommendations don't matter because we saw what you did. You're not trustworthy. He's not trustworthy. He's a terrible mayor, and he knows he's a terrible mayor. That's why they're pushing so hard to get him to go to this stuff like the Ebony thing. He's go to anything that's the BET Awards and stuff like this because they're trying to make him like this figure that because black people are so brainwashed with entertainment and all those things, and they have this narrative of these black men, they got crime is down and they really doing it and stuff like that because they're only showing one side of this to give the illusion that the Democratic Party is about black excellence, Sam, about black people, and they're riding for us whole time. Again, for every black mayor, look at the public school system. Look at the public school system. Black mayor, terrible public school system. Like, but if we put you on the spotlight and have you lie like you did at Congressional Black Caucus, and people didn't understand the whole well, ends the ride talking about some don't boo him. What you mean don't boo him? That ain't your mayor. That mayor absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Absolutely. So I think that's it. I just wanted to come on here earlier. I know I usually do it in the evening, but I'm gonna be on Twitter. Oh, not Twitter. X. I'm gonna be on X later on tonight in the space to talk about my conservatism and why I have the right to vote the way I want to vote. And there's nothing that you can tell me about how I vote and how I want to vote because I'm out here actually paying attention. I'm actually going into the community. I'm actually going into the meetings. I'm actually looking at the budget. Look at this. I have the whole budget. The whole budget. Okay? So that's what I'm on. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. And we are going to get it right. And it takes all hands on deck. It takes register to vote. It takes register to vote. It takes register as a Republican or independent. But I prefer Republican in the city of Chicago in the state of Illinois because we have to send them a clear message. A clear message. Don't ever do this again. Okay? So everybody watching the city, everybody watching this city, everybody watching this state. So we got to move as a unit. Cousins. Cousins. All right, appreciate y'all. Talk to y'all later. Drunk driving.